Welcome to Chasing the Beats, a show dedicated to weeklybeats.com artists, their songs, and stories from the 2024 season. I'm your host, SQF, and our guest today is Xavier Marquez. Welcome, Xavier. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Welcome to the show. Excited to have you on. You were one of my, everyone kind of has a list of people that they sort of come to listen to every week, and you were definitely on that list.
Thank
And
you,
another, a fellow M8 user.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So just to dive right in, was this your first Weekly Beats?
Yes, my first one. I've heard
Cool.
about. I've had I heard about it on the M8 Discord. But when I figured out it wasn't, it was in 2023, so it wasn't on. So
An odd year.
Yeah. So I was really keen on getting into it.
Cool. How long have you had an M8?
I'm on the third year, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Got it in 22. Yes, that's it.
Cool. So I think a lot of our motivations to join Weekly Beats are similar, but what was your specific motivation?
Well, I was doing lots of different. I was working on lots of different ideas on the M8, but I was doing what probably most people do, which is I wasn't finishing them all, so I just had little snippets, and I thought, well, this might be a cool way to finish some songs. So I decided to just go all in, and then made sure to go the whole year through.
Yeah. Keep the streak alive.
Yeah, man, it wasn't easy, but yeah,
Yeah.
I did miss like 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah,
But you didn't let yourself get down about that.
I don't know, man. I was a struggle. There were some times that I really struggled, but yeah, I made it.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some things you kind of learned either about production or just finishing songs throughout the
Ye-
year?
Yeah, I think that my main takeaway was really just feeling good about releasing stuff. Because the thing is, I had lots of tracks done. Some of them were complete, some of them weren't, but I never really showed them to a lot of people. And
Yeah.
the thing that I think was great about it with the weekly beats was just feeling good about releasing stuff. And I wasn't really I wasn't really expecting much of it, but as soon as the as people started commenting and I started listening and giving some comments back, it felt amazing, and that's one of the things that kept me going, just
Yeah.
getting feedback from people.
Yeah, I came across an article recently about how much music gets uploaded to Spotify and other streaming platforms and how much of it just never gets listened to.
Yeah,
So I was like, man, I'm really thankful for this whole community where we all want to listen to each other's stuff because, it's on one hand, it's nice to put stuff out and know that someone's listening to it, but it's also there's that double-edged sword of like you're really kind of making it for yourself. You don't want to make it specifically for someone to listen to, but it's nice to hear what other people think about the things you make.
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, some of my submissions, I really didn't feel they were any good, but some people commented, and their perspective made me look at them a different way, and
Yeah.
yeah, made it all worth it.
Yeah, that's cool when you make something and you're like, this was what some other people call like, oh, this was like my speed trash week. Like I just
Yeah.
like it didn't take any time at all, and I just threw something over the wall, and people were like, "Whoa, I really like that."
Yeah, I mean that happened a few times, and it felt amazing. I mean, everything that we can make happen. I mean, I found out lots of different people on Weekly Beats. I had such different takes on music that I felt so inspired. I mean, I listened
Yeah.
to there's this guy, a Spider. He's on Discord all
Oh
the
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I was blown away. I really enjoyed his. I never thought about maybe it was just me, but I mean, getting chip tune and metal together, it blew my mind. I thought it
Yeah.
was amazing. I really
Yeah, it
enjoyed
is
this post.
really cool to hear just all the different styles and mashups and just everyone's unique personalities.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, everything was game. I mean, I talked to lots of friends saying that I was doing this thing, and they thought because I do lots of electronic music, they thought everyone had to do electronic music. And I told them no, there's all types of music, solo
Everything.
piano. I heard a submission of someone reading a poem. I don't know. There's all sorts of music, so it's
Shanty
amazing.
tunes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, everything is game. Yeah, there's
yeah.
no one that's like, oh, that doesn't fit in weekly beats.
Nope. It's all fair game.
So what's your music making history prior to getting an M8 or prior to weekly beats?
So I mean, I've been working with in music full time for almost 20 years now, and
Oh,
so
okay.
so I've been producing records for local bands. I've been on tour.
All right.
So yeah, I've been working in music for a long time, and I found out about the M8 when it was first released, but I gotta say the tracker workflow wasn't kind of scared me, so I didn't
Same.
really pay too much attention. But after some time and reading some feedback and seeing what could be done with it, I decided to give it a shot. So I got one. Man, it changed my life. It's
Yeah.
yeah, man. I've ever since getting to. I mean, everyone. I guess everyone says this, but ever since getting to the M8, my output has been amazing. I mean, I've been doing lots more music than what I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, before this, I mean, I've spent most time in the studio recording for other people, and I love it. I love. I mean, I've had some sessions this week, and it's amazing to be able to exchange ideas with people and recording stuff on the spot. But sometimes you just wanna go. You just have an idea and wanna see it through. And DMA is just an amazing machine because it lets you just quickly get to that place and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah. How did you find adapting to the tracker workflow? Because you said you were kind of on the fence.
Um, yeah, I mean the thing is, I was using the OPZ and the OP1 a lot,
Got
and
it.
but the thing is, I used the opposite for quite some time, but the limitations on it were quite frustrating because I wanted to have lots of different projects and I couldn't. So that was my main motivation to get it because the way it structures your files and your projects, it feels unlimited. So I can have
Yeah.
lots of different songs and all my samples are organized. Yeah, because I've done I wrote so I've got this project called Jupiter, which I used to play it live as a Dallas performance,
Got it.
but yeah, but it wasn't that much fun because I was spending way too much time just thinking about program changes and patterns and all of that, and I wasn't feeling the music, and I think the audience can feel that.
Yeah.
So after that, I decided to rethink everything, and that's when I bought the M8 and started migrating all my songs onto the M8, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, and that was it. So yeah, I really dove in. I saw all the meetups. I took lots of notes, and yeah, I feel quite comfortable with it now.
Yeah. I mean, I love all the different experimentation stuff that you have done using the M8. Some of it I still need to dive into because I think there were some comments where I was like asking like how did you do this
Yeah.
like and I still haven't. I need to take some more time and do some experimenting on your level. You do a lot of like glitchy like effects that sort of like seem to come and go really fast, like distortion just on some small parts. Like how do you do that?
Yeah, usually I write for the weekly beats. I wrote most of the songs on the M8. But then once I finished, the thing that I find really hard on the M8 is to control the dynamic of the song. So I feel like it's very, how can I say this? I feel it's very mono, and it doesn't have lots of dynamics. I mean, you can
Got it.
have it, but it takes lots of time to get a hold of it. So what I did for the weekly beats, I connected the M8 to Ableton, and I've got a performance template that I use with MIDI controllers, a MIDI fighter twister, and
Okay.
yeah. So as I usually play the M8, and I'm just jamming on effects. I've got mostly delays and some granular effects, and with that, I try to give more dynamic to the song. Because if I'm only performing on the M8, I find it's amazing to make the arrangement and do the production, but to perform is a bit limited. So I
Yeah.
feel that by having some external effects, I can imprint some more dynamics on the song.
Yeah. Are you able to in Ableton have 8 separate tracks?
No, no, no.
No, because I didn't
No,
know if you could do that with USB.
no.
So
People
you're
are stereo.
just doing stereo processing and using the MIDI fighter to like bring in effects and
Yeah, yeah,
that sort of
it's
stuff.
basically like that. I mean, it's mostly, to be honest, it's mostly the echo effect on the native Ableton effect.
Got
The
it.
thing with that, let me check it. The thing with that plugin is you can unclick. There's an option that says repitch. So if you have the repitch on, it acts like a normal tape echo, and once you change the timing, it pitches up or down the sound.
Mhm.
But if you unclick the repitch option, it changes the delay time, but it doesn't change the pitch. So you can go to
Okay.
extremes, and it will capture a little bit and extend it, and it
Oh, okay.
feels, yeah, it feels very glitchy when you do that. And I
Oh,
use
that's
that a lot.
cool.
Yeah, it works
Yeah.
really great on drums and percussion, because it gives you that flangey like sound,
Yeah.
and you can stretch that delay time, and it just gives you lots more space.
That's cool.
Yes, it's a cool trick.
Yeah, I've been tempted to get a MIDI fighter, but I wasn't sure exactly how I would be using it, but definitely got some ideas now.
Yeah, I mean, I've done this. I've been playing with this template and the MIDI fighter for 5 years now, and I've got it so dialed in that I couldn't do it without the MIDI fighter. It's a make because I mean the way I've got it, all the knobs are set up the same way, so I know exactly where my delays are, my
Got it.
loopers, all of that. Yeah, it's just amazing.
That's cool. And you mentioned in some of your comments or descriptions and just a minute ago that you have some kind of performance rig.
Yeah, that's the one. So I've got Ableton set up with a few inputs that are all controlled by the MIDI fighter, and from those ends, I can press one of the knobs, and it will go to a lots of different effects, which are then controlled on the MIDI fighter. And also I can route. I've got different routings inside of Ableton that I can go to granulars, delays, reverbs, loop stations. So I can grab throughout the song. I can grab little snippets and reuse them and reverse them
Okay.
and repitch them. Yeah, and it's very versatile. And
That's really cool.
that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years when I'm playing live.
And the M8 is kind of central to that now.
Yes and no. So if I'm only playing my songs, yes, I'll play them straight from the M8. But what I've been doing lately, because I'm working with I've been working on a quad system, so I'm working on this quadraphonic sound
All right.
for live. So I've been exporting my songs on the M8 so that I can have different stems that I can pan around the room
Oh,
differently.
sweet.
Yeah, man, sounds amazing. I've been doing some testing, and it's just incredible how much you can get inside the music.
That's cool. Yeah, I that kind of touches on a question I wanted to ask because you mentioned doing some Dolby Atmos
Yeah.
processing in Pro Tools. Is that kind of similar to the quadraphonic?
Yes, yeah. I mean, the way I think about it, it's very similar. The difference is I can't do Atmos. Well, at least not that I know of. Right now, we can't really do Atmos live because it takes a lot of processing, and
Okay.
the signals need to go out of Pro Tools into the Dolby renderer. So I can't do it live. Also, I don't have all my plugins, my performance plugins on Pro Tools. But the way I feel about spatialization is the same using Dolby or Quad. The thing with Dolby is there's not that many rooms that have Dolby Atmos available, and a quadraphonic sound system is fairly easy to set up. So I'm converting most of my some of my songs to play live into Quad, but also because I work in cinema a lot. I work with a director, and some of the songs that I did on the weekly beats, I converted them to Atmos so that it could be featured on the cinema.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah. So but the way I try to spatialize the sound is very similar.
So you'll export stems from the M8 and then sort of be able to almost like spin individual parts around the room.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Well, since
Very
I've got
cool.
the stems on Pro Tools or Ableton Live, I do a little bit more production to get it wider and get to dial in a few sounds.
Very cool. So since you're what sounds like very into the music business and production side of things, is there any sort of advantage that you feel like you got just doing weekly beats and like cranking out your own stuff every week that you maybe wouldn't have gotten through your
Oh,
job?
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, all of the weekly beats, I keep them on my on a folder. Most sometimes people just I just get some gigs and people want some music, and I can just either link them my profile on Weekly Beats, and they can just have a listen. I mean, it happened this year. I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 songs got featured in a film because
Oh,
of the Weekly Beats
wow.
submission. Yeah, it was amazing. So I did the Weekly Beats. I submitted them. They listened to them there, and then they asked me for a few changes. I produced the songs a little bit more, and they ended up on 2 short movies.
Oh,
It's really
very
good.
cool.
Yeah, man. I was really happy with it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
Thank
is
you.
that a connection through your job, or like how do you kind of, if someone else wanted to get their stuff into movies like that, what do you recommend?
Uh, yeah, I mean, because I've been working in cinema for a few years now.
You get the connections.
Yeah, it's fairly easy because I mean I've been going to lots of cinema festivals, and it's amazing how very few audio people are in there. Usually I'm the only one there, so I get to
Oh,
meet all
wow.
these different directors, and they all ask me lots of stuff, and that's how I got them to listen to my music. I don't know why. I've asked other directors if they why didn't they bring their sound directors to the festivals, but I seem to be the only one going there. Yeah, man, it's amazing. It's so
Yeah.
easy.
Well, that's definitely an edge up.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Very cool. And I see you use the TX6 a lot. What do you like about it? It's one of those teenage engineering gadgets that's always been like, that seems really cool, but I'm not sure exactly how I would utilize it.
Yeah, the thing with this mixer is that it's ultra small and it's so versatile. I mean, I played a gig last week where I was receiving, I was getting some feeds from the front of house, and I wasn't really sure how I could mix them all in my system and throw it back to them, and have a monitor out for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
but the way it it changes the its setup, it's really useful. So I got it into 12 inputs and 12 outputs. So I was able to get all the signals from the front house, get my cues, and I was doing all the monitoring from myself from the mixer. I mean, it's really versatile.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's very, very adaptable.
Yes, I mean it's amazing. Usually, I used to play with a Motu ultralight,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it's very versatile because you can set it up and you can disconnect it, and it will work as a router or as a preamp. You can do whatever you want, but it's bigger than the TX6, and because I'm usually supporting bands, so I'm usually the playback engineer. I need to travel light, so this
Yeah.
one it just fits in the pocket, so
Yeah,
it makes
it's
everything easier.
so small.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Well, let's see, what other questions do I have? So you do most of your final production in Ableton.
Yes, usually I in for these weekly beats I did most of the stuff on the M8, and then I played it through my performance setup. But if I'm working for other people, I'll usually stem it out of the M8, do the rest of the production on Ableton, and then I'll export audio stems to Pro Tools and finish the mixing there.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you sort of treat your weekly beat songs almost like a performance.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, some of them I've worked on it after I submitted them. What was the one? Formiga, ants. That one I was just having fun with distortion and saturation, because I mean usually I've played that song but it's not that saturated. But yeah, most of the submissions, because I left most of them for the last minute. Uh, I just thought, well, I'm just gonna have fun. It's sounding all right. I mean, it's listenable, so I'm just gonna have some fun and submit it. So yeah, most of them they went through my performance setup, and that's how they finished.
Very cool. Yeah, and like we talked about at the top, it doesn't really matter how much time you spend on something. Like, I think there's this just fallacy that time you spend equals the end product. And like
Yeah.
the more time you tweak it, the better it's going to be, but that's not always the case.
No, I don't feel like it. No, I mean sometimes it works, but most times I just got. Usually, I just went to. I usually started with. I really loved starting with textures and really digging in, and then trying to enhance some sounds that are in a sample or something like that. And sometimes it doesn't really take that long to get the feeling right. And the
Yeah.
more you work on it, sometimes you just water it down. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You second guess yourself too much.
yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Well, should we get started with the music?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So the first one I'm going to play is in English, Birds of
Go for it.
Prey,
Yeah, that's it.
and in Portuguese,
Pássaros à espreita.
yeah, there's no way I can pull that off. All right,
No.
here we go. All right, that is some wild sound design. How the hell do you do that?
And this is the easiest cheat on the M8. So for this song, I did another one using the same technique. So if you go on the M8, if you go to the FM engine, because it has so many parameters, you can
Yeah.
get really crazy with sound design. So if you press edit and the four directional keys, you'll just start randomizing the patch. And
Whoa.
and you'll get the craziest sounds ever. So I just pressed random a bunch of times. Then I fine tuned those patches, and that was it.
And then are you adding like a bunch of delay and like because it sounds so spacious, or is that all directly out of the M8?
Yeah, it's all I made on that one because
Wow. Okay.
yeah, it's just I've got a whole bunch of different instruments, and I was just picking different patches, and that was it.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
I
Yeah.
have never used the randomize instrument.
Oh,
Like
oh, you got to try
I, I know. I'm like,
it.
man. As soon as I jump off of this, I need to go try that.
Yeah, because I mean it's very unexpected, and I mean you can try it on any of the instruments. The sampler is the one that works the least, though.
Oh,
But
true. True.
yeah,
Makes
but
sense.
the FM engine, it's just crazy for this kind of
It's got
sounds.
so many settings.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have come up with those if I was going after them. Just random, random,
Yeah,
random,
like it
random.
sounds like wavetables
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
Yeah. So, what made this one of your top three picks?
Just a different sounds and textures, and everything's very sparse. I'm always looking. I find it really frustrating, but I'm always looking to do some songs that don't have any percussive elements, because I find that
Mm-hmm.
once you get a beat or something down, it's not cheating, but it's easier. Once you've got a rhythm going
Yeah.
on, it's just easier to get things going. And because for me, weekly beats was all about getting challenged. I thought,
Yeah.
I need to try and make something without an explicit beat, and
Yeah.
I failed lots of times, but a few of them got together, and I was quite happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, it is like once you add in a beat, it really sort of sets the direction.
Yeah, yeah, and especially with the M8 having 16 steps, it makes everything so much easier to go four on four, 4/4. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to get away from it. I've been uh,
Yeah.
I've been having to go with different grooves and changing grooves on the fly, and it's really good fun. It's really hard to control.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always a challenge I'm always looking for every time I get on the MA to do a beat without having any rhythm, explicit rhythm section.
Got it. That is a really, really good challenge
Yeah, it's hard.
and hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like the sound design on this and just how open and unexpected. Like you're always sort of like, what's gonna happen next? Like
yeah, it's
especially
very
without that beat to lock it in. It's like,
exactly.
oh,
That's
and it's very cinematic.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. I mean, I guess yeah, I was because I wanted to leave it very sparse because I had some effects and some of the decays of some of the instruments were fairly long. I wanted it to have space and to breathe because
Yeah.
most of the submissions I was doing when I released this one, they were very rhythmic and very full production wise, and I wanted to have something more clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always hard doing beatless and minimalistic. Oh, it's hard.
Yeah. I definitely like to add too much stuff at times.
Yeah, I know, man. Same here.
Because I saw too, you did some or attempted to do some single track M8 stuff.
I don't think I submitted any. I did try, but the temptation to add another track and another and another was too strong.
Yeah, so it started out as the single track challenge, but
Yeah, Yeah.
You're like, it needs more. Yeah, I admire
Yeah.
the people that can put out some like really cool
Yeah,
single
man.
track stuff.
I can't remember who it was, but there was this guy that submitted like three in a row, and they were all mind blown. I mean,
Yeah,
they
I'm
were
trying to remember who
amazing.
that is as well, but I
Yeah, it
remember
was.
that.
Yeah, there was this guy that really got me to try it, but I failed.
Well, cool. We'll jump on to the next one, which
Oh,
is Formiga, which now I know is ants.
oh yeah.
All right. All right, so that one is a really fun one, and you talk about in the description that it's sort of like, what would it be like to be an ant? And I can totally imagine listening to this song with my little ant headphones, looking for some sugar.
There you go.
Um,
It's cool to be an ant.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
So, what made this one of your top picks?
I think it's just a fun little tune. It came out like we were talking about before. It came out really, really fast, and I had I overproduced it. I had all eight tracks on Image just going crazy. But then I just started chopping things up, and then it ended up with four tracks. And I thought, well,
Oh,
it's
okay.
done. Yeah, no need for more. And on this specific track, it's all saturated because I was having fun with the TX6 with the mixer, and I was trying out different saturation modes. Yeah, and that was it. I think
So
it's
another use for the TX6.
yeah. I mean, the saturation sometimes it's a bit too much, and it's hard
Yeah.
to find the right place for to to turn it on. But yeah, I was just having fun.
Yeah, it's like very chiptune video game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's lots of people doing crazy stuff chiptune
Oh yeah.
on the M8. So I was kind of trying to give it a shot because I've never really done chiptune, but
Yeah.
it's so much fun doing it. The wave synth on the M8 is just perfect for that.
Yeah, it gets you right there into
Yeah,
chiptune land.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like really cool groove on this one. The percussion, like we talked about, really like drives this one and
yeah. It just
makes you
keeps
want to bop
going.
your head.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's just a simple melody. It just keeps on repeating it. So
Yeah, it's gonna be in my head for the rest of the
little ants in your brain.
day. Yeah. All right. Next up is Jupiter child, or is Jupiter you mentioned as your other
It's,
sort of project?
yeah, yeah. So I've got so it's me and it's Bruno, my mate, and so we've got this project going on which talks about space exploration, and the Earth is dying, and humanity needs to go out and all of that. And we're working on the on this new record, and that's the first song that I finished mixing, and it was right around the time of the weekly beats. And I was really struggling because that week I hadn't done anything other than mixing that song. I was like, oh man, is it cheating? Because I mean, the song is not brand new, but I mean, I finished the production and I was finishing the mixing. I thought, well, I'm just gonna go
Well,
for it.
I won't turn you in for breaking any weekly beats rules.
I did go on Discord and ask everyone. Everyone said it was okay.
Okay, you got approval. Good,
Yeah.
good. All right, here we go.
This place shared many ghost songs. I need a point for my beginning. A crying man drowned dead dread puzzle me. I need a sense from my beginning. A mask, a hollow face, a private tombs in place. Lies for the flesh of thee. The new creator is stone cold. Create me, whatever I may be.
This place, too many ghost songs. Counterpoint from my beginning.
This one starts out with like these like chimes or like just this soundscape of
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just like kind of all around you. How did you make that?
So yeah, this one started out with these tubular bells, I guess it's called.
Okay.
So I got them, and they are tuned into a specific scale, and I just recorded a few samples of them, and then I sent them to Monomi Norns and
Yeah.
run them through a few different scripts, and they'll just mangled all the sounds. And so I got them back into Ableton, and that was it. I mean,
That was it, you know.
yeah, easy. No, I
No,
mean,
that's some like some deep sound design kind of stuff.
yeah, I mean, in this project in Jupiter, I do take my time
Okay.
designing the each patch and doing all the vocal production and all of that because it's not my I'm not doing it solo, so I've got Bruno to help me.
Got it.
So I usually spend more time designing all those production elements, and most of the time, what I do is I record stuff, and then I just process it and resample it. I do the same on the M8, so I just get a sound, and then I resample it and tweak it some more,
Mhm.
maybe resample it again, and and yeah, and that's how that came to be. There's lots of percussion, lots of stuff that I rendered, then processed, and then put it back in the song again.
Got it. And
Yeah.
you mentioned some kind of tricks you did for those drums.
Yeah, those drums were I used the echo Ableton's echo without that repitch setting, which is really cool because if you got very percussive elements and if you grab them in the right time, you can stretch them out, and it feels they sound really glitchy, but they're always on time. And if you keep messing
Oh.
with I keep messing with the delay time and the mix knob. So I've got both of them mapped on the MIDI fighter, and I'm just messing with the mix and the delay time, and I'll just bring them in and out, and
Okay.
yeah. So I recorded a pass of that of me messing around, and then I'll just dialed in the mix and the mixing stage.
Cool. So it keeps it on time so you can have these like faster and slower drum parts, but everything's still like on
Yeah,
beat.
yeah. Because sometimes you just mess around with it too much, and you start losing the sense of time. And
Mhm.
if you're only listening to it, you lose yourself. So
Yeah.
what I do is I do tend to go wild with it, and I do tend to exaggerate it. But then when I'm mixing, I'll just chop out the bits that are way too off
Got it.
and leave the original beat on.
Cool. And
Yeah,
that's Bruno and Teresa actually
yeah.
singing. I thought that maybe like you got some like splice samples somewhere,
No,
but
no,
no, that's
no.
your group.
Yeah, I mean, Teresa is a friend of ours. She only sings in this song. We invited her for this particular one.
Cool.
But Bruno writes. He's the one who writes the lyrics. So it's this record's gonna it's has a whole concept behind it. So every song is a little bit of the story. Every song is tells us some of the characters, and eventually they all meet up in the end. But everything is very conceptual. So yeah,
Very cool.
I couldn't have done it without him.
Yeah, I mean the singing's great. That's why I thought that I was like, "There's no way he knows these people."
No, man, it's really good. I mean, it's really talented. It's amazing
Yeah,
the because before I showed him the track, I had a few ideas for the vocal line, but it just came. It just showed up with completely different things, and I was just blown away.
that's
So yeah,
cool.
yeah. And we record a lot of vocals, a lot, and so after that, I've just got to chop everything up and see which vocals fit with each other, and yeah, it's a
Okay, so you're kind of doing vocal takes separate from this track or before the track is even like the idea is complete and you're sort of like arranging them all together?
Yeah, so he recorded the vocals when I only had the main section before. So this song eventually goes on to that B section and C section, and
Yeah.
that came later on. So I recorded as soon as I had the first demos. I sent it to him. He worked on it, and we recorded the vocals. And then I kept on, with the production because I felt that the demos didn't really translate what he was singing.
Oh, okay.
So I tried to get the production to to be alongside what he was saying and get the dynamics all in place. So yeah, I mean, later on he came back and he recorded a few second vocals and some back vocals and all of that, and yeah, that's how he got
Cool.
made.
Yeah, I you mentioned like a B section and C section and there's like kind of around like the 3 minute mark it sort of really changes up
Yeah,
and I love that change. And you do a lot of, especially in this song, a lot of like super wide panned little percussive elements. Just like there's always
stuff going
something
on.
swirl
Yeah.
around your head.
Yeah, that's I didn't mention. So this song that I'd submitted was the first mix for this record, and it was mixed in Atmos. So I did take my time to get all the stems to a lot of stems. So I was just panning stuff around and getting things on and off. And the great thing about Atmos is that you don't. I feel like I have more space to fit all the elements, because if you have everything sitting on a couple of speakers in stereo, you kind of need to chop things up so that they can all fit inside
Yeah.
the stereo. But if you got Dolby Atmos setup, you can have like 13 speakers around you.
Yeah.
You don't really need to chop everything so much, because all the speakers are playing full range, so
Mhm.
you can have some vocals playing in the background full range without it interfering with the stuff that's playing in front of you.
Yeah.
So for me, it made it easier to mix, because everything was full range. I didn't have to cut so much,
Right.
because I was cutting lots of low end out of everything and trying to get some mid range on some stuff so that the vocals could fit in. And because I was mixing so many different speakers, I can afford to have them be full range,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't interfere with each other. That's why I can just put stuff
That's cool.
everywhere. Yeah, it sounds
And so
amazing, man.
how does that translate down to a stereo mix? Do you still have to try to fit everything in for two speakers or does Dolby sort of handle that?
Dolby handles that. It's just really
Oh,
easy, man.
okay.
It's just amazing, because I mix it using the full Atmos setup, and then you can create re-renders. They call it re-renders inside the renderer, and it'll bounce down to mono, stereo, quad, 5.1, you name it. You set up the amount of speakers you want it to bounce, and it'll just render everything. And
Wow.
I've been doing some testing, and it's very accurate. There's a few things that get a bit muddy, but it's nothing. There's no deal breakers. It's
Very
amazing.
cool.
I think it's really really incredible, and
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
and the
have to
fact.
get me 13 speakers.
Yeah, the cool thing is, most of these mixes I did it on headphones, using the because it has a binaural setting, so it emulates the whole speaker setup, and
Oh,
it's fairly accurate. Because I mean, I mixed this song was all mixed in on headphones, and I tried it and I listened to it on a full Atmos setup, and it translated really well. So yeah,
wow. That
yeah, it's
is
fairly
really
easy.
cool.
Yeah, man, I think anyone can have access to it with that.
Very cool. I had no idea about what the whole Dolby production process was like. So
Yeah,
it's cool.
yeah. It's not very easy because I mean it's very. I think they show it as very technically advanced, which it is technically advanced. But I mean it's not that complicated once you get past the first the initial setup, and after that now I feel like stereo is it sounds very small after you start mixing in Atmos. You've got so much space to put
Yeah.
things in.
Well, I mean, that explains why all of your mixes sound so spacious because you come from this background of, or at least a perspective of 13 speakers and Dolby Atmos and
Yeah,
trying
I
to
mean,
fill the entire space.
yeah, I mean, even when I've only recently just started mixing in Atmos, but even before that, I've always taken uh, I've always been considered with the space and the and dynamics in
Hmm.
songs. That's why I tend to overproduce everything, and then I get to a point. No, this all needs to go, and I try to lose stuff that's not bringing anything to what the song is talking about.
Yeah, I definitely next weekly beats need to practice more cutting things out.
Yeah.
What what sort of thought process do you go through when you are, cutting out things that would not really add to the song?
Usually, I just when I really need to get rid of stuff, I just mute everything and I just start unmuting the things that I find that are essential to the song, and I'm trying to find that place where you just have a few elements and the song still holds together, and everything else I might just turn it on occasionally. So
Mhm.
I just decide that they'll only go on a verse or on a chorus. Yeah, but I try to find out what's the least amount of information that I can have that still conveys what the song wants to
Got
portray.
it. So it's like if it can stand on its own with like 3 tracks,
Yeah, that's
then
the backbone of it
the
all.
other tracks maybe aren't as important to keep the entirety or, use little bits and pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes,
Cool.
sometimes I rather take a melody line out, and instead of having it do something else, I might have it do what some other instrument is doing. So instead of adding another phrase, I'll just enhance a different
Yeah.
melody line.
Like keep the number of melodies small, but sort of use different instruments to sort of repeat the same idea, but in a different way so that it's sort of familiar.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. So say
Cool.
if you have a lead and it's very direct, it's very mono, it's very in front of you. You may duplicate that lead and have it sounding a bit wider. So use another track just to make that one feel wider. But I mean, keep the musical elements to a minimum, I
Yeah.
guess.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, definitely something to keep in mind for next weekly beats for me. All right. The next one, getting into my picks now,
Let's go.
is M8, M32. I picked this one because it's very spacious. It's got like a slow build, like where you're sort of at the beginning trying to pick out like what is the rhythm, where is this going? On top of the fact that the Mother 32 just sounds so good. And then you've got like this like deep sub bass that comes in, and I don't know, it's just like a great build, great sounds. I love everything about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've got to thank you for this one actually,
All
because
right.
yeah, because I started doing this one after listening to your submissions and your comments. I was like, man, he's doing a lot. He's sounding really good with that Sub 37. I gotta get
Thanks,
some.
man.
Yeah, I had to. I was getting a bit bored by this time of the M8 doing only M8 stuff, so I thought, let me add something else. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, one of the things about the Mother 32 is that if you once you program your sequences and you send it clock, the tempo knob will instead of changing the tempo, it changes the subdivisions of the tempo. So it goes from quarter notes to half notes and all that. And it's really cool to just mess around with it in real time. So that's what I did. I mean, I recorded the M8 into Ableton, and then recorded sent a clock to the Mother 32, and recorded a few tracks with it. And
Cool.
yeah, and that was it. And the beginning, I was at the beginning of the song, I wasn't really sure what the tempo was going to be, what the feeling was going to be, because I was gonna have it be faster, but then I decided, no, let's do this half tempo, so they give me more space to work out. Yeah, and that was it. Then I felt it needed some like a leading line, something that
Yeah.
led the listener. So I recorded a take on the Mother 32, just that main synth line, just recorded on the spot. That was it.
Wow. Yeah, lots of performance elements that went into it.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I miss on my M8 submissions. They all feel very, uh, very, how can I say, prepared. They were all well thought out, and
Yeah.
once you press play, it just goes, and it's always the same. And some of my submissions, I felt they kind of needed something different, something uh, outside the grid.
Yeah.
So that's why on this one and a few other ones, I decided to play something on top so that it wouldn't be too square.
Yeah. Yeah. That like I love the M8, but I am also looking for a little bit more of that performance element these days instead of just like hitting play
Yeah,
or like getting out of the box of just arranging everything so it's perfect.
yeah.
And so I recently got a Digitone. So I've been playing around more with just like building parts and being able to sort of interchange the different parts that are playing at the same time to,
Okay.
kind of mix it up on the spot, change, synth parameters and values, sound design values on the fly. So,
Yeah, yeah, I miss that definitely. That's one of the things that I tried to do on this one, because whilst I was performing on the Mother 32, I could mess with the filters and all
yeah.
of those things, and it just feels very musical, and you do it on the spot, and it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you use any other outboard gear besides the Mother 32?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Sub 37 as well. I've got a Prophet, a Rev 2,
Nice.
an analog rhythm, and a digitone as well.
Okay.
But yeah, but to be honest, I've mostly been doing M8 stuff, and I either sequence uh, these machines or just some stock Ableton plugins,
Yeah. Yeah.
or I'll record stuff, because I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have some lots of friends that play all sorts of different instruments. So I can just get it. I don't know, a cello, just record a few notes, sample it, and
Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
and it just sounds amazing instantly. And you can just pitch stuff up and record things out of tune. I love recording stuff that's slightly out of tune and just process it and mangle it.
Mangling it.
Yeah, man, it feels amazing.
Cool. Yeah, like more inventive sound design stuff.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, I do love me some synths, but I mean, after a while, they although they are very versatile and you can get all sorts of different sounds out of it, sometimes we get stuck in the same old habits, and it feels good to work with different instruments. And with
Yeah.
the great advantage of an acoustic instrument is that it's so immediate. I mean, you can it's so dynamic. You can imprint so much in a single pass with just simple hand movements or or whatever. So it feels
Yeah.
it's amazing. And then with the magic of sampling, you can just layer all sort of sounds on top of it, and all of a sudden
Yes.
you've got a new instrument to play with.
Very true.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
this. I think it's the first one, the first submission I recorded, and no, it wasn't the first one. It was one of the later ones. I recorded an oven rack, so I got the oven rack and a cello, a bow, if
Mm-hmm.
I'll call it, and I just recorded a bunch of different samples of me bowing the oven rack, and it's incredible. I mean, it sounded amazing. It's very dark, very yeah.
There you go. Right
There
from the
you go.
kitchen. Well, cool. We will jump on to the next one. In English, it is The Sighting of Mr. Frog.
Hum.
In Portuguese,
O avistamento do Senhor Sapo.
ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
All right, here we go. So I picked this one because it starts out with this like dirty, glitchy stuff going on, which I feel like is kind of a signature of yours.
Mm.
And then the bass comes in and the beat just like brings it to life, and it's just a very like head bopping, almost angry sounding, just like groove.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I mean this one, I was feeling a bit stuck actually, and now I was looking for something else actually, but I've got this other tune, the disappearance of Mr. Frog, and I really loved the rhythm section. So I decided to export a bar of the rhythm, and I just pitched it down and reversed it and did a whole bunch of stuff, and that's what prompted this whole new song. Yeah, that was it. I mean, I feel really lucky that it turned out the way it did, because I mean I wasn't really expecting anything out of it.
Why didn't you expect anything out of it?
I don't know, man. I was. This was later in the weekly beats, and I was, I just felt I was just repeating myself with the same old tricks and the same old techniques.
Yeah.
And when I started, I felt I was doing exactly the same thing. And I don't know. It turned out way better than I was
Got
expecting.
it. So you sort of went into it like using my same old bag of tricks, and then you're like, "Whoa, that I actually like that."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what it was. I mean, I really like the other track, and and I felt like I wanted it for it to go somewhere else, but I couldn't find a way to fit into the song. So I was just messing around with the sample from it, and yeah, that's how the song ended up becoming
Yeah,
like
I
this.
think I just really dig that half tempo like drum beat. I don't know,
Yeah,
just something about it.
yes,
Just
the
like,
marching all along. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I guess there's a whole reason for the, chopped and slowed music genre. But yeah, sounds great.
thank you, man.
All right. My final one is a note is a note. So typically, how we do this is we will talk about it and then play out the song at the end of the episode.
Okay.
So I picked this one because I really like all these like staccato stabs going on. The castanets as the rhythm section that you said you got that sound from a sample. I don't know, it just grooves. It's very like happy, hopeful sounding. I'm
Yeah,
just like a head bobber.
yeah. I mean, this one I was really looking. I was practicing my skills on the hypersynth on the M8. So if you set up different chords, then
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool because you can just recall the different chords
Yeah.
on the sequencer, and then you can add what is it? You can add different notes to those chords, and you can mess around with the position of them, and
Yeah.
it's just really cool. Once you get it going, it's really cool because you get to write harmony and melody using just the one
Yeah.
instrument, and so I built the song, and I was and we was feeling very how can I say? I mean, the rhythm section wasn't really grooving that much. It was very square. So I thought, why not just use a random percussion instrument? And I came across this castanet sample. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. It's got some lots of different rhythms,
Yeah.
and so I imported it to the M8 and sliced it, and it's really cool because the sample had so many variations. You could just change the notes and create so many different rhythms.
Yeah, yeah. To pitch it up or down on the M8.
Yeah, yeah, and picking a different slices because
Mm-hmm.
every different slice had a different pattern that you
Yeah.
could combine in so many different ways. And because it had so many beats in it. I try to get the hypersynth to sound very staccato as well, so that they wouldn't overpower the
Got it.
rhythm. Yeah, so it was more of an exercise on different chord changes on the hypersynth and slicing the castanets.
Yeah, and then the staccato element is so, like, everything kinda fits still and can breathe.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about. I mean, the thing I love about the M8, it's because you only have 8 tracks. You need to be very deliberate with the
Yeah,
sound with the sounds you pick. Sometimes I do use a few tracks and then bounce them
yeah,
to a stereo and then continue doing that. But I mean, you need to be very deliberate with the sounds you pick, and I find that that's a great limitation because it forces you to be creative so that you can have everything in there and everything must be working for the song. So yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think 8 tracks is plenty. I mean, I can make 8 tracks sound very crowded in no time.
Can we all? Yeah, I mean, just think about the Beatles. The Beatles started recording with 2 tracks and then 4 tracks and then 8 tracks, and they
Yeah,
recorded so many records on 4 tracks. It's amazing.
yeah, with all sorts of,
Just bouncing and
mono,
yeah,
stereo panning tricks, and
yeah,
yeah, just
exactly.
working with what they had.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, and if you stick with the M8, it's just those 8 tracks. I mean, just having for me the having a sampler in there is just amazing because I mean, if you can't get what you want from the synth engines, you get a whole world of samples. So
Yeah, and that's kind of what I started doing with outboard gear is just sequencing the MIDI and just sampling it right back in.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then a couple songs I actually took some of those samples and used them in other songs and maybe like slowed them down or pitched them up. So then like the the things that you record for one song end up being part of your sample library for other stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, most songs that when I'm working on them, I usually, if I stumble upon a good pattern or a cool sound, I'll just record I save the instrument and then I record an audio sample, and I have a whole folder full of those lost sounds. Yeah.
Nice. So there's kind of a big theme with this past weekly beats of challenging yourself with not using some sort of percussion elements or trying to break out of the same old, same old. What are you sort of planning for the next weekly beats? I imagine you'll still be participating.
Oh yes, for sure. I mean, I only just found out that people are still doing the
Oh yeah, the
unofficial.
monthly beats.
Yeah. I have noticed that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see
Yeah.
what's gonna happen next year. But I don't know. I really don't know.
But in the
I'm
off season, you're still making songs for Jupiter, right?
Yeah, I'm making a song for Jupiter. I'm planning on releasing that album, and I mean, I've been doing my weekly beats sort of stuff.
Okay.
Still, because I mean, it felt so after a whole year of doing it,
Yeah.
I just can't stop it now. I mean, I appreciate the fact that I don't have the deadline, which was killing me sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, sometimes it's really stressing to get everything uploaded and all of that. But I mean, I've been doing my beats. I just haven't uploaded them anywhere. But
Okay. So you've actually been finishing them and being like, yeah, I could submit that.
oh yeah, man! If I mean, if it felt so good just to have a whole folder full of songs. Like I said, sometimes I stumble upon a project where I need to get some original songs, and I'm looking forward to fill in another folder this year so that I can have lots
Nice.
more material to work with.
Yeah.
Because the cool thing is I'll have all the stems and everything, and it's just so easy to just chop everything and
Yeah.
produce it. So
Well,
yeah.
and then you've got more to add to your library for when you show up to these cinema
Yeah,
conferences and
yeah,
stuff. Of like, hey, yeah, add this to your movie.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the last interview I did was with Kedbreak, and he's actually been doing a song a week since early 2022.
Jesus. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, it's just part of my life now. Like, I just make a song every week.
Oh man, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, since 2022, bloody
Yeah,
hell,
it's
that's
very
great.
impressive. Very
It's very
impressive.
impressive. Yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
yeah,
man, I thought it was big time with 52 weeks in a row, but
yeah,
no, this
exactly.
dude.
Oh man, yeah, and he has it's really insane submissions. These weekly beats. I
Oh
remember him.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, his episode hasn't come out yet as of this recording, but it's a great episode, so check it
I'm
out.
looking forward to it. Yeah,
Well, I think we will conclude this episode and play it on out with A Note is a Note. Thanks so much for coming on here and telling us a little bit about how your weekly beats experience went and how you make music and all of your tips and tricks.
sure, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you to everyone who submitted and commented, and
Yes,
thank you to Trash 80 for creating the platform. I mean, it was
and the
unbelievable.
M8,
And yeah, mate, exactly. Yeah, and that too.
our savior.
So yeah,
Yeah,
man, thanks for doing this. It was amazing.
yeah.
Thanks
It's
for all the comments and everything.
yeah, it's been fun, and it's been nice to keep the community kind of going in the off season and give everyone a little bit of a spotlight. And like we've talked about, the community is what kept us all going,
Yeah.
and it's just a wonderful community to be a part of.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing it. Really,
Yeah, man.
honestly. Yeah.
Glad to be doing it. All right.
Cool.
Well, we will play it on out with A Note is a Note, and have a good one, everyone.
Take care.